I use to help other people to understand their reality.
Yeah.
So I'm not in the business of helping people to understand me. I'm in the business of helping people to understand themselves, so they're not afraid of their own greatness. And it takes courage to be an individual, right?
Absolutely.
And it takes a lot of courage to live as the lead actor in the unfolding of God's narrative for your life. So I talk a lot of people off of the ledge. Of living on the edge of someone else's reality, playing a supporting actor or actress role. And I talk them off the ledge. You got to be yourself.
Yes.
Everybody else is taken.
Yes.
So nobody wants a duplicate. They want the original. People make you an option.
Right.
And you make them a priority. But if you could reverse it and make yourself a priority, and it doesn't mean that it's selfish. It means that it's self-mastery. And self-mastery is the most selfless thing a person can do. It's selfless. Because a better me is a better we, a better I is a better us.
For sure.
And so if I can be a better person automatically, without me doing anything in particular, I make the world a better place.
Absolutely.
Okay, wait, it's November and it's time to be thankful. That's right. Join us this month as we take a moment to be thankful. Here's what we're doing. 1, share your story with us. 2, gift the BSIDE subscription if you're already a member. And 3, invite someone by sharing your favorite BSIDE episode with them. That's it. Let's be thankful. And yes, let's enjoy the show. In 3, 2, 1.
Please don't push me.
Please don't push me, but y'all push B. Now we got dwellers from Cali to Flatbush B. Now they got heat on their feet that say press B. And now we so deep in the streets, y'all can't stress me. Can't curse me, then bless me. I'm crucifying my flesh, that's less me. SAT'd from preaching, can't test me. Atheists are now believing, that bless me. Yeah, we got the basement replacing any of those worldly pursuits that y'all chasing, any of those trials and tests that y'all facing, any of the relationships that y'all changing. We rearranging, making the shame shift, giving Satan back what's his, that's the blame shift. Rise up and walk commands, that's the lame shift. Cheat codes for living this life, that's the game shift. All on Yeshua, man, the rest is manure, man. I'm dying daily, so I rise up a purer man. Pressing B daily, so my sins looking fewer, man. Washing the blood, so my sins down the sewer, man. Yeah, so press B with me, and let's let whatever gon' be just be. Yeah, so press B with me, and let's let whatever gon' be just be.
Welcome to The Basement, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Tim Ross. I'm so excited for another opportunity for us to connect. Grateful for your desire to normalize vulnerability so you can be fully seen, fully heard, fully known, and fully loved, even if you're not fully agreed with. I'm so grateful for you wearing this well. God is with you, and I'm so glad to be with you as well. Listen, I got to jump right in. Shout out to all of my dwellers. Shout out to all of my B-siders. Thank you so much for subscribing to the app. Thank you for helping us normalize vulnerability one person at a time. All the formalities out the way. I'm so excited for my guest. I'm so excited that she decided to come to my house. She came to my house. I'm so hyped. This might be a 4-hour pod. We might just go until her ride comes. I am going to tell y'all to just get your notepads now, get your pens now, get your highlighters now, get your Bibles now, get your minds right now, because this woman is the epitome of wisdom, counsel, clarity, strength, resilience, intellect, all in one. None of this is hyperbole. You will hear it when she speaks. She is a multi-hyphenate. That is to say that there are so many things that she does that it's easier for me to just call her a multi-hyphenate than to go through all the things that she is and the things that she does. You can Google her and find all the information, but I am introducing now and presenting to some for the very first time. Dr. Cindy Trimm is in the building, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go! Oh my gosh! I'm so happy you're here.
I'm happy to be here. Honestly, just to
you
be
so
just to be
much.
in your presence. You know, I'm watching history unfold before me in you, because you're a history maker, and I'm excited to be here.
Thank you so much. I have followed your ministry for 2 decades, and I have seen the ways in which God has used you and the moves you've made in ministry and business from afar, and never thought that I would get pulled into your orbit and that I could experience your ministry this up close. But last year I had the opportunity, thank you for your invitation, to participate in Your Year Strong in December in Atlanta, which is a very unique conference because it's not even conference season. But you're doing something to frame the way people end a year and have expectation and hope for the next year. And to be a part of it was already an honor, but then to be there and to experience it, I was like, oh, she different. And I'm kind of different. And so
We get one another.
And I gotta tell you, you got me in a way that actually, I'm gonna use this word, even though this probably is not the right word, but I was startled by it. Because for the last 2 years, what I have been doing is so far removed from what I used to do, just as an itinerant preacher and a pastor, that last year, December of last year, I was with you at a time where I had just been getting beat up all year, misunderstood all year, mislabeled all year. And so when I came, I was kind of like, maybe somebody told her about me from my preaching days, but she probably ain't seen all the pods, because if she did, she probably canceled me. And I got there and I hugged you and you looked in my eyes and you just started like affirming and validating who I am. And I was just surprised. I'm like, oh, so you know and you still want me here? Like it was like I had been on a tour, and at the end of it, my aunt was there when I got off the plane and was like, boy, they don't understand you, but I do. Come in the house. That's how it felt.
I think, today, the pandemic has done all of us a favor. And it has caused every individual to rethink possibilities, what their future could look like, what their life could look like. And this is not just individuals, this is ministries, this is corporations, and we had to pivot. And so if you are going to have a great future, I tell people all the time, you don't need to consult an ordinary past if you want an extraordinary future. And what the pandemic did for us is put everyone at the same starting block. So there's nobody ahead of you, nobody behind you, no one better than you. And we can all just hit a whole reset and we could start our lives all over again without having to use a resume. Because, a vision is more powerful than a resume. So I think because your future calls you, and that's what a profession is, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
A profession, actually, it came from the Bible. It was it was assigned to people who professed their calling.
Right.
Paul talks about the profession of your faith.
Right.
But a profession was an old English time, way back then in the 1500s. when someone felt the call of God on their life, and they would go to a public space and they would profess, this is what my calling is. And then they'll go into ministry. And then secular took the word profession.
Right.
And we secularized it.
Right.
So for me, if you secularize something, it means that there had to have been a beginning, an ethos, a place where that word found its meaning.
Correct.
And I think that in this season, we're going to see God using us in our profession.
Yeah.
And not just in ministry, but in every industry. Because what we do need now, honestly, we need leadership, we need creatives, we need innovators, so that we can craft a way forward. And you're one of them. And you're able to, speak to, I think, the potential that's hidden on the inside of a person. And you're using a method that is needed, so that the average person who is non-Christian, non-theological, can digest spiritual truths.
Absolutely.
And so when I saw you, I said, he's an amazing gift to humanity. And in his space, the world that is non-churched will be able to digest truth in a way that most believers are unable to do.
Yeah.
Because, our paradigms have been primed by our Christian experience.
Absolutely.
Back in the day when I was younger, even if you weren't a Christian, you went to church.
Right, for sure. Absolutely.
Everybody went to church.
Yeah, yeah. It was the cultural thing.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
now culture has changed in such a way that people feel that the message of Christ is outdated. And it's not. It's really not. We need that message.
Right, absolutely.
And if a person like a Gandhi could use one Christian principle, and that's turn the other cheek, AKA when you have non-resistance.
Right.
So turning the other cheek is non-resistance.
Right.
Non-resistance is not acceptance.
Right.
Non-resistance says, I'm not going to use my energy to eliminate something. I'm going to use my energy to create something.
Yeah.
And it's the Nehemiah, right? I'm not going to come down.
Right, correct.
Because
Correct.
I'm doing a great work and I'm
Right.
building.
That's right.
And like Michelle Obama said, when they go low, you go high.
That's right.
And this is the principle
Right.
of non-resistance.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So if we can use biblical principles, which are principles of empowerment, they're not religious principle.
Right.
Religion binds you.
Right.
Christianity is not about binding you to
Right.
anything.
Right.
It's about liberating. And it's liberating you who has a piece of the master on the inside of you
Absolutely.
to make you a masterpiece
Absolutely.
in this world.
Amen.
And it's liberating your truth. And a lot of people say, I just want to tell my truth, but they're talking about a testimony. Your truth, the truth about your identity, the truth about your purpose, the truth about your mission, the truth about your assignment, the truth about your temperament, your personality, your identity. That's the truth that liberates you. Anything else binds you.
Okay. We have started.
We have literally.
This is what I love about you, Dr. Trimm, is that you are such a deep well. Every time I get around you, I just feel like I'm sitting Indian style learning something. And it's there's just something about the way you say things that I just resonate with. like
Yeah.
It's not that somebody else hasn't said it before, but it's like when you say it, I'm like, no, I get it because you said it.
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
Living it. I live my truth. So way before I preach the truth, I live it.
Yeah.
And all I do is extrapolate it from principles that I've applied to my life.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about using your life like a laboratory. 80% of what I do, I get wrong. Blows right up in my face. But the 20% that I get right is the part that I use to help other people
Yeah.
to understand their reality.
Yeah.
So I'm not in the business of helping people to understand me. I'm in the business of helping people to understand themselves, so they're not afraid of their own greatness. And it takes courage to be an individual, right?
Absolutely.
And it takes a lot of courage to live as the lead actor in the unfolding of God's narrative for your life. So I talk a lot of people off of the ledge.
Yeah.
Of living on the edge of someone else's reality, playing a supporting actor or actress role.
Yeah.
And I talk them off the ledge.
Yeah.
You got to be yourself.
Yes.
Everybody else is taken.
Yes.
So nobody wants a duplicate. They want the original. And if you are the original, that means that you have to be different enough for people to pay attention.
Yeah.
So most people pay people to pay attention. And they... I think they put their destiny and purpose and identity and personality and uniqueness up for sale to the highest bidder. And then they put their dreams, their vision, their goal, their aspiration on layaway. And they make everyone else an option when it comes to the roles that you should play, or I should say, people make you an option.
Right.
And you make them a priority. But if you could reverse it and make yourself a priority, and it doesn't mean that it's selfish. It means that it's self-mastery. And self-mastery is the most selfless thing a person can do. It's selfless. Because a better me is a better we, a better I is a better us.
For sure.
And so if I can be a better person automatically without me doing anything in particular, I make the world a better place.
Absolutely.
So why don't I work on me, finding out who
Yeah.
I am? Because you cannot outperform your current concept of self, nor rise above the level of your self-worth. And so when I look at the world, and the first question I ask myself, could things be the way they are because I am the way I am?
Yeah.
And what one thing can I change that can change everything?
Yeah.
So I could change how I approach life. And rather than approaching life outside in, I do it inside out. So I fix me. And once I fix me, I can fix my realities. But I can't control anything outside of me.
All right, so we're gonna have to. Oh my God. Okay. Oh my Lord. I feel like you just recapped the last 28 years of my life, or the last 26. So I gave my life to Jesus January 14th of 1996. And I started going to therapy in 1998. I had gone to 2 years of altar calls, and I was still jacked up. I went to the altar call for lust. I went to the altar call for pettiness. I went to the altar call for anger. Went to the altar call for low self-esteem. Went to the altar call for all the things, okay? And I was still like, I must be the only one struggling, because everybody else seemed to got delivered at the altar. The wrong person must have laid hands on me, because I'm still. Well, then I went to therapy and started unraveling these narratives and my trauma, and getting to the epicenter of my of my actual issues. And I stopped dealing with was the maladaptive behavior, the pornography and the masturbation and all this kind of other stuff. And I started dealing with the root of all of it, right? So I was no longer fruit focused. I was root focused. And what you just articulated is the only reason why I'm able to be the person I am in the world as presently constituted. The issue that I feel like so many people have, and I'm thinking about the person listening to you that hasn't gone through the work that I've gone through. I imagine it sounds to them what you already tried to disclaim. It's not selfish. It's not pride. It's not self-focus. It ain't narcissism. Lord knows these jokers done learned 4 new words in the last 4 years, and now they think they got a PhD, right? In psychology. Narcissism will get gaslit, and vulnerability. Now they like, I know because I watched 8 TikToks, right? Could you please deconstruct for our audience this gross misconception that the church has given people, in my opinion, not to work on themselves. Because the Lord's going to do it all, and you just need to pray more. They try to just force them back into the system instead of, you need to go inside.
Because you're talking about soul work, right?
Yes.
What does it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul? So let's define what the soul is.
Please do.
And let's give people a couple of sound bites that they could work with, think about.
Yeah.
So the soul is not only the seat of your reflective consciousness, housing your mind, your will, your emotions. Your soul is the sanctuary of God. Where does it speak to you? It's not just your spirit.
Yeah.
You have to be able to digest revelation. And the revelation, the first law of revelation, is that God will give you a revelation of yourself.
Absolutely correct.
And how does he do it? By introducing himself to you. So this is Moses. Moses said, do you know who I am? And if I become this emancipator that you say that I am, if I become an emancipator, I'm going to be rejected. I'm going to be fought. And I've got a speech impediment. So you must not know about me. Right? You must not know about me.
Yeah.
Who do I say is affirming and endorsing me? Wow. Who do I say is sending me? He said, I am. Just tell him, I am. I am? Okay. So he stands before Pharaoh. And Pharaoh probably, and I'll reenact it, you got a nerve to come back. You know, I raised you to be a prince.
That's right.
And you run away and you act like you're one of these,
Yep.
you know.
Yeah, for sure.
So what are you coming back for?
Yeah.
He said, well, I'm coming back to free my people. So you're going to free the people. Yeah. Who sent you? I am. So I am, meaning you sent yourself. So who sent you? I did. So you're going to take them in the wilderness. Who's going to feed them? I am. Who's going to clothe them? I am. Who's going to lead them? I am. I am is the name that God chose for himself. He created you in his image and after his likeness. And the more you know about God, the more you know about yourself. You were created in the image after the likeness of God. So the first question you need to ask is, and I'm going to ask you.
Please do.
And I want everybody to answer. What's wrong with God?
Nothing.
So you were created in his image and after his likeness. What's wrong with you?
Nothing.
What's broken with God?
Nothing.
You were created in his image after his likeness. What's broken with you?
Nothing.
So everything you learned about yourself, you learned between 0 and 6.
Correct.
From broken people who were created by a broken educational system and a broken society and broken government and broken families. So they taught you to consider yourself broken and that something is inherently wrong with you. They taught you. So if you learned it,
yes,
you can unlearn it.
Yep.
So it's nothing wrong with you.
Yep.
There's something wrong with your thinking and your strategy. So rather than you going to therapy for someone to fix you,
right,
you go to therapy for them to fix your strategy.
Yes.
Because there's nothing wrong with self. There's only something wrong with your strategy. And we could fix a strategy. I'm a trained psychotherapist.
Yes, you are.
Right?
Yes, you are.
And I can get anybody together in 8 weeks, except if it's, you know, clinically.
Yeah, for sure.
If it's clinical situations, then, you know, and they need procedures and pills and
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
right, and a process to help them.
Absolutely, for
But
sure.
outside of that, most normal people like you,
Yes, ma'am.
can be fixed in 8 weeks.
Yeah. I wanna keep it a buck. Y'all know how we do. I keep it 100. The reason why I was able to answer Dr. Trimm's question so quickly today is because she asked me this question before over the phone. And it took me, I think it was like 50 seconds. She said, "What's wrong with God?" And I couldn't answer the question. And she giggled and she said, "Oh, you a philosopher." She said, "You're philosophical. That's why you can't answer the question." There's nothing wrong with God, Tim. I was literally like philosophically like, well, again, thinking through my own brokenness. Well, what's wrong with God? The fact that he doesn't answer us when we want him to. Well, that ain't got nothing to do with him. That's got you know. I was in my philosophical head, and she giggled and was like, "Oh, you're philosophical. You was a philosophical one." She was like, "That there's nothing wrong with God. Let me help you out." Then you broke this thing down. So I'm not saying I'm answering. I'm just letting y'all know. She cooked me on this the first time. Mm-hmm. She asked that question. I could not answer. And then she said, what's wrong with you? I couldn't answer that. Then it got more silent. And she said, see, I need you to fix the way you think. The reason why I could answer, I just want everybody to know I'm not sitting up here like some expert. Last year, when I talked to her on the phone, I was stuck on stupid. This year, I knew better.
You know, and a lot of people, you know, we're trained to think of ourselves as less than ourselves because we call that humility. But to lie about yourself has nothing to do with humility. It's trained. We dumb down to fit in, to blend in, because we know the pain of rejection. Rejection comes from people or a situation or a relationship that doesn't have capacity for your greatness. So rejection is not about you. It's about the person that's interacting with you.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, there's something about you that they can control. So they reject you so that you can comply. Nowadays, we call it ghosting. But when people ghost you, it just may be God inviting you to connect with your authentic self. Because we learn how to fake everything, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
That's what Shakespeare said. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women are actors.
That's right.
Players.
Yeah, absolutely.
And each man in his time plays 7 parts. And so if there's acting, then there has to be a script writer.
Yeah.
So why would you want the world to write your script when God has already written your script? I come in the volume of the book, it is written of me. And this is why I love the Bible, because it's scriptures. In other words, it's your script. So, I mean, you got to read the Bible.
Please say it again.
God is giving you scriptures because that's your script. Come in the volume of the book, it is written of you. That's it, period.
Yeah.
Whatever God says about me, that's what I believe.
Amen. Point blank,
Yeah.
period.
Yeah.
That's it.
And then why would you sit around asking people who don't know who they are to confirm what God has said to you about you? And they haven't even listened to God speaking to them about themselves. So you can't tell me that God didn't call me. You can't tell me that God hasn't blessed me. You can't tell me what God is telling me to do. You're not listening to him. Why should I listen to you? I can't be in your laboratory called life.
Correct.
You experimenting with my life. I can't do that.
Right.
Because I'm going to get the bad end of the stick.
Right,
It's going to blow
absolutely.
up in my face.
Absolutely correct.
You're wearing goggles. I'm not wearing goggles.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
I walk out of your laboratory
Yeah.
with my eyeball hanging on my cheek. It ain't going to happen.
Right, for sure.
So stop giving away your personal power.
Mm-hmm.
You know, listen to God. I think of Jabez, you know, the story
Yes.
of Jabez. And his mom called him a pain in the darkest part of her anatomy,
That's right.
right?
Yeah.
So all of his life, people thought of him that way, community, because every time they said Jabez, that's what
right.
it means.
That's right.
But one day he had an encounter with God.
He
God
did.
showed him who he was.
That's right.
He said, hold on 1 minute. The first thing I'm going to ask you to do is to rid my thinking from its limitations.
Absolutely correct.
Because he was suffering from possibility blindness.
Yeah.
He only saw from his mother's eyes. But when God told him and let him know, you are not the aggregation of people's opinions about you.
Right.
And just because they don't get you don't mean you can't get you.
Yeah.
Get you.
Yeah.
Forget about trying to prove it to everyone else. Just be you. Your authentic self is powerful beyond imagination. The real you. And God introduces Tim, you, to the next best version of yourself every birthday. It means that you got to give up the 15-year-old version when you turn 16.
Correct.
And you only get 1 year to get to know that iteration. Every birthday. So if people are saying, you know, I want to know the next best version of myself, and I'm evolving into the next best version of myself, that happens every birthday. The issue is, do you have the capacity and the courage and the faith to embrace him? And Paul said, doth thou have faith in God? Have faith also in yourself. That's in the book of Romans. So don't just have faith in God. Have faith in yourself.
Absolutely.
And the greatest gift you could give back to God is to be yourself. That's the greatest gift. Forget about doing. People do more because they want to be more. And we've learned to put ourselves down. We have this Jeremiah experience. I haven't been to prophetic school because it takes 21 years to be accepted as a prophet. I'm just a child. That's what he was saying. I have no mentor. I'm just a child. And this is what God said to him. Stop saying you're a child. In other words, stop putting yourself down. I'll mentor you. So stop putting yourself down. This is all learned. Just because society says that you have not been educated this way doesn't mean that you haven't been certified by God that way. God is the one that affirms you. And who has the capacity of God to say that, oh, I agree with God, or I confirm. I just want to confirm what God said to you.
Yeah.
You don't have the capacity.
Yeah.
So a lot of us are waiting for someone to affirm who we are when God did it at conception. You outperformed 500,000 possible other yous. And you had no eyes, no ears, no lungs, no legs, no mind. And you outperformed 500,000 other possible yous. And at conception, you were already boss. You were already a boss. You were already, unstoppable. But the day that you were born, you were already owning your voice and calling the shots. You were like, whoever is responsible for changing me better get in here. And whoever is responsible for removing the pain in my stomach, I may not have words, but I got a voice. You better get in here and give me that substance. If not, nobody in this hospital, nobody in the house is going to sleep. You were born calling the shots. When did you lose your voice? So I think this is a season for people to own their voice, own the room, own the space amongst the great. And don't ask permission. You were given permission the day you were conceived. You were given permission at conception. You're unstoppable. You cannot outperform your current concept of self nor rise above the level of your self-worth, period. It's not the world, it's not government, it's not your family. It's not your friends, it's not your spouse, it's you. The greatest battle you will ever fight is not people. You will fight the idea of the revelation that God gives you of you. And it's called a dream, a vision, a desire, aspiration. And if God gives it to you, all you need is strategy after that. Strategy is the bridge between what is possible and what is probable. With God, nothing is impossible. No thing is impossible. So where was the airplane before there was the airplane? And where was the chair? Where was your, shoes?
Yeah. Wheels.
They existed in the realm
Absolutely correct.
of possibility.
Absolutely correct.
So
A plane could have been erected in the 1500s.
yes. So if God says, with me, nothing is impossible. Listen to what it says. It's impossible for there to be nothing with God. It's impossible. So how do you say it? With God, all things are possible.
Mm-hmm.
So it's impossible for nothing to exist. So your resources are already there. Your opportunity is already there. Everything you need is already there. It exists in the realm of the spirit. And this is why we go to church, to learn how to be spiritual beings.
Yeah.
Not to be religious, but to display the glory of God, the power of God.
Yeah.
And God said everything was created for his pleasure, right?
Absolutely.
And so what gives God pleasure? When you prosper. Prosperity is having enough divine provisions to overcome obstacles so that the future that you dreamed of becomes possible and probable.
Mm-hmm.
So, when we talk about prosperity, you can't reduce it to things.
Yeah.
You have to elevate it.
Yeah.
And I think with a lot of people, they look outside of themselves for what they have on the inside of themselves. And a body at rest stays at rest until a external force moves it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or a greater force moves it, right? And so your brain is physical. So how do you fix your brain? You fix your mind, and your mind is spiritual. And so Christianity is all about having a mindset transformation.
Absolutely.
Christianity is about mindset mastery. Because if you get your mind right,
Correct.
you get yourself right. If you get yourself right, everything that is attracted to you will be right.
Absolutely.
That includes people, experiences. So I tell people, stop trying to fix things outside of you. Fix this. Let this mind be in you, which is also in Christ Jesus. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Be not conformed to this world. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Being renewed in the spirit of your mind. If you fix your mind, you fix your life. If you change your mind, you change your life.
Facts.
So, that's why that law of non-resistance is important.
Yeah.
Non-resistance doesn't mean I approve what you're doing. It simply says, I'm taking back my personal power. And you could keep doing what you're doing. I can't control you. But what I'm going to do is create the life that I want over here. Because energy, once it's expended, cannot be renewed, right?
Yep.
It just changes in form.
That's right.
So why would I want to use an unrenewable energy on stuff that I don't want? So rather than say, I'm going to have debt eradication and debt elimination, and 50 years later you're still in debt because that's your focus. Whatever you focus on fuels your future. If you don't want to see it in your future, don't meditate it on your past. You just don't do it. And it's the law of thinking, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So thinking has a frequency. Anything that's sustained over several minutes, you attract the same frequency to you. So if you keep saying, I don't want people to reject me, and people always reject you because you're spending too much time. It's a frequency you're sending out, rejection. And just because you put the word not in there, it doesn't eliminate.
Right.
You're using the word frequency.
That's right. That's right.
So
right.
your brain is like, okay, they don't want, they don't want poverty. So where's poverty? Like, that's what they
right.
don't want.
That's right. And
But
that's what
they
they're
haven't
looking at.
told me what they want. They haven't told me what they want. What do you want to replace it? Wealth. Well, why am I in a debt reduction and debt elimination program when I don't want debt? I need to be in a wealth creating
Correct.
program.
That's absolutely correct.
And that's the same thing with medicine.
Absolutely correct.
Why am I going to spend my life
Yeah.
with individuals, no offense to doctors, but why would I want to spend the rest of my life going to a doctor that's trained to have proficiency in illness,
Yeah.
fixing illness?
Yeah.
That's your proficiency.
Yeah.
I want health.
Yeah. I need a wellness doctor.
So why not I go to a wellness doctor that
That's absolutely
focuses on wellness?
That's right.
Now, it's not saying that we
Correct.
don't need that.
Absolutely.
We do.
Yeah.
Right?
But I need to. I'll come see you once a year.
Yeah.
I ain't got to come see you every day.
Yeah.
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 I'm
Yeah.
not gonna be fixated with
Yeah.
the illness side.
Let's create the wealth.
That's right.
So people ask me all the time, you've been around a long time. How old are you? I say 20-something. I have the energy of a 3-year-old and the body of a 20-year-old.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
I'm not growing old gracefully
Yes, ma'am.
because I'm not growing old. Period. Period.
All right, so I'm stuck. Listen, I done heard everything you done said, okay? And I'm still stuck on something that I have never considered
What is that?
about Jabez. There's a few significant name changes in the Bible. Abram to Abraham, Sarai to Sarah,
Jacob to Israel.
Jacob to Israel, Benoni to Benjamin. It has never occurred to me that Jabez kept a name that has such a negative meaning and never even prayed for it to change.
Never.
He just said, with this bad name my mama gave me.
I'm changing my brand. Mic drop. And that's powerful. He did the inner work, honey. Enlarge my territory.
I want to throw my phone
That's
at
my
you, but that will
intellectual
hurt. That will hurt.
territory. That's my intellectual.
I'll keep this name.
But I'm going to change my mentality. It starts with my mind. Enlarge my intellectual.
All right.
Real estate. You see, a lot of times we think that the Jabez prayer had to do with this real estate outside of him. No. Because if you could change the internal real estate,
Correct.
you could change everything
Absolutely correct.
outside of it.
Absolutely correct.
So if you want to know how a person's thinking about themselves, look at how they live.
Yeah.
Look at how they accept what they accept.
That's right.
Look at all of that.
That's right.
You don't even have to ask them what you're thinking.
Yeah.
Because the realities in your life is the outward manifestation of your inner world.
What came to mind is the story of Domino's Pizza.
Talk to me.
Domino's Pizza was like 4th or 5th in chain pizza brands. Pizza Hut was, I think, at the top at the time. They started getting all this feedback. Domino's Pizza is just nasty, right? The cheese is nasty and we don't like it. Domino's started a campaign. I forgot the person that was behind the campaign. But Domino's came out with a campaign first acknowledging our pizza is terrible. We've heard from you. Our pizza sucks. So we're going back to the beginning, and we got new tomato sauce, and we got new cheese, and we got a different brand or whatever they did. And they literally rebranded themselves from the ground. They didn't have to change their name.
Fix yourself.
They just fixed their pizza.
Go inside, have a conversation with God. You know, when David said, my soul makes her boast in the Lord.
That's what he said.
Because that's where God spoke to him about him. This is what I have for you. David never had a name change. Look at the the woman at the well, Mary Magdalene,
Rahab.
We're still talking about it. Don't count me out, because God has already counted me in. And a lot of us live lives that are hinged, edited, interrupted.
Yes, ma'am.
We live as another version of someone else. But what would happen if you showed up every single day knowing that you are the highest expression of divine genius and intelligence given as a gift to humanity for such a time as this? And you woke up every day and walked out of your house with that revelation. What would happen if you can live unedited, unhinged, uninterrupted?
That's my life. So I was sexually abused at 8 by a older teenage boy that lived across the street from me. I had a sense of greatness at 4. I thought I was going to be Batman. I told my daddy, I'm going to be Batman when I grow up. He told me, you can't be Batman. I said, yes, I can. He said, no, you cannot. That man. He said, you cannot be Batman. I said, yes, I can, Daddy. He said, no, you can't. He said, Batman lives in Gotham. That place is fake. He said, Inglewood is real. Okay? And so I was like, then I'm going to be a police officer. From the time I was 4 years old, my mother worked for the LAPD for 30 years, to the time I was 20 and a half, when you can legally fill out an application to even apply for the Los Angeles Police Department. Mm-hmm. I never drank. I never smoked weed. I was only in a gang for 7 days because my focus was to be a homicide detective for the Los Angeles Police Department. Mm. And I was sexually abused at 8, and I saw the abuse as a marring on the way I saw myself. Because only thing I could see up until that moment, I'm great. Mm-hmm. And couldn't nobody tell me nothing except I'm great. Mm-hmm. I didn't have a vast wardrobe. I knew I was great. In high school, if you watch me closely, by Wednesday, you would have a 50-50 chance of picking my outfit on Friday. Mm. That's how limited my wardrobe was. Mm-hmm. My friends used to bet on it. Mm. They actually placed wagers on he probably gonna have on the Bob Marley shirt with the cross-colored jeans. And I still knew I got greatness on the inside of me. This porn addiction is right here, and this trauma is all around me, and this low self-esteem. But if I could move all that out the way, I'm bomb. Like, I'm so dope. Mm-hmm. And then I gave my life to Jesus. And then I started reading the Bible, and I was like, we trying to get back to Genesis 2:25. Like, everything from Genesis 3 forward to Jesus is a mess. Mm-hmm. But we trying to be naked and not ashamed. Like, I'm a literalist, so I read the Bible. I'm like, this is what it says. It's good. I started preaching 5 weeks after I gave my life to Jesus. And my parents let me preach in their church every either 4th or 5th Sunday, whichever was the last Sunday of the month. I preached at God's Way Holiness Fellowship for 11 months. I got saved in January. I started preaching at my parents' church in February. In December, they were like, there's a call of God on your life. We're ordaining you. If you get a preaching engagement, you got to take it. My response was, who's going to invite me to preach? Mm-hmm. It was the most unfathomable thing. God started opening doors for me to do Bible studies at people's house, 2 or 3 people. I would drive a Cadillac DeVille, Coupe DeVille, down the Cajon Pass from the high desert in Apple Valley down to Pomona and Riverside and Rancho Cucamonga to go preach to 3 or 4 people, right? And then God started opening more doors. I was 2 or 3 or maybe 4 years into preaching, and I started hearing, hey, you seem to be arrogant. There seems to be an arrogance that comes from you when you preach. And I would be like, really? Like,
if they only knew.
I'm like, I'm not even trying to.
If they only knew. It was their insecurities.
I know that now.
It was their insecurities that they were trying to project onto you.
Absolutely correct.
And, what people get mixed up with is the difference between confidence and arrogance. So, how arrogant was Martin Luther King to believe that he was called to eliminate to eliminate segregation and to attack the Jim Crow laws? How arrogant was Mandela to believe that he was called to liberate his people from British rule? How arrogant was Mandela to believe after 27 years he was called to deal with apartheid in his country, to become, after 27 years of imprisonment, to become a president? How arrogant was Stephen Jobs to believe that he was called to change the technology in the 20th century? How arrogant was Einstein to believe that E equals MC squared? How arrogant was Winston Churchill to believe that he knew better than all of his colleagues that sat in Parliament? What people call arrogant are people who know what they're called to do and pushes to a realm of excellence and refuses to lie about their assignment and refuses to lie about who they are. You may not be a good singer, but you're a good communicator. And everyone is looking for the best. Why can't you be the best? What people call arrogance is confidence. And when you refuse to act like they want you to act, to dumb down, to fit in, to blend in, and to ask for their affirmation of who you are, and to ask for their permission to be you, when you refuse to do that, they try to control you.
That's right.
With that statement.
They do.
You're arrogant.
They do.
Well, you're arrogant.
Yeah.
To think that you could walk in my life and tell me to become something that God hasn't told me.
Absolutely.
And
correct.
you're arrogant to try to play God in my life.
Absolutely.
So if anybody's arrogant, it's you. And I give you permission to leave my presence. I give you permission. Just go ahead and leave. Nobody's going to be sitting around in the 21st century waiting for someone else to affirm or confirm what God has spoken to you. Nobody's going to sit around and do that. We have too many problems to solve. And
Yes,
then,
ma'am.
The typical church leadership, when you sit around waiting forever and ever and ever, and by the time they give you permission, you're 60. And a season has shifted. And nobody's listening to no 60-year-old that's just starting. Unless you're Colonel Sanders, who was 72. But you've got to build mastery.
Ma'am. Absolutely correct.
Mastery happens. The reason why Joshua was the best qualified to be the first sovereign leader over this newly formed nation is because he spent 40 years being mentored.
That's correct.
By the individual by the name of Moses,
Right.
who happened to have been mentored by Pharaoh. Wow. We're not connecting dots. We're putting pieces of a puzzle together. This is not dot connecting at all. So if you're not being mentored to be a leader and mentored to be effective, and you mastery comes from discipline.
Yes, ma'am.
Discipline is taking a gift. Discipline is different from correction. Train up a child in the way they should go. Spare the rod, spoil the child. That's what they think. That's correction.
Yes, ma'am.
But discipline is putting you in an environment that has the ability to give expression to your potential. So discipline is not about performance.
Yes, ma'am.
It's about potential. And who has the time, who's assigned to look at your potential? And to be able to say, hey, you could do better.
Right.
This is your potential. What if I don't know your potential? Your mentor will help you to figure it out. They will help you to articulate it.
Right.
And if there's no living mentor, then you have to read books.
Right, for sure.
That's where the Bible comes.
Yeah, absolutely. That was
like
mine.
I tell everybody,
Yeah.
look, the greatest mentors are in the Bible.
That's exactly
because
right.
they'll show you what not to do.
That's exactly right. That's
They
exactly
lived
right.
their life out loud, and
Yeah.
God recorded all the mistakes that they made,
That's right.
all the strategies. Let's just not call it a mistake.
Right.
Let's call it all the strategies that was not appropriate for their potential and their purpose and their assignment. And God corrected them, but they had to live their life. Life is meant to be lived, not observed.
Yes, ma'am.
So you have to get out of the spectators'
That's right.
seats. You got to stop being a spectator.
Yeah.
Stop being a commentator.
Right.
And live your life.
That's right.
You don't have any wisdom to speak into anybody's life until after you're 50. Before that, you got to live it. You got to lean into it. If you are not 50 and above, you have nothing to talk to me about. Nothing. I'm not listening to you. Because you don't have the wisdom.
Yes, ma'am.
You get wisdom from experience.
That's right.
Even if you discover 1,000 ways not to create a light bulb,
Yes, ma'am.
you know?
Yes.
So
yes.
it's pieces of puzzles that God puts together. And then every now and then, God will bring someone in your life that will reflect back to you your greatness.
Absolutely.
He'll bring that person in your life.
That's right.
And it may be quick,
Yeah.
but it's enough to say, okay, I'm on the right track.
Absolutely
Or
correct.
I'm on the wrong
Right.
the wrong track. And whenever God introduces new revelation and a new relationship, it simply means your season has shifted. So that's what new relationships are. But if you don't have a vision for your life, you are not going to know what to do with God's provisions. Success is gained based on the speed of a relationship. So if you have the wrong people around you, the 5 people closest to you are dictating your destiny. They're your prophets. This is what your life is going to look like emotionally, spiritually, financially. And if you don't have the right people around you, you better read some books.
Right.
And if you don't like to read a book, get one book, and that's the Bible.
That's right.
That's got every kind of story you ever imagine in there. I love it.
So I can co-sign. After that whole conversation, well, it wasn't a conversation, but that person's critique of me, I went back, because I read the Bible every year, just straight through. I ain't even looking for nothing. I'm just reading it. It's just a story, and I have in my imagination, I see everything in pictures, so I'm there. So I'm okay. I got to go back to this person's house, and I need to go back to. We about to go through this again. 1 Samuel 17, Luke chapter number 4, destroyed that critique from that person. When I read 1 Samuel 17, David's about to go fight Goliath. He gets his 5 rocks. He looks at Goliath and he says, "Today, the Lord will kill you. No, today the Lord will conquer you, and I will kill you and cut off your head." And the Holy Spirit just said, "That's confidence." I kept on reading. I got to Luke chapter number 4. Jesus has unrolled the scroll and found the place where it was written, "The Spirit of the Lord has anointed me, for he has anointed me to do," 1, 2. He named 5 things. Scripture says he rolled the scroll up, sat back down. They all looked at him intently. And then he said, "Today, what I have just been read has been fulfilled this very
That's
day."
what I'm talking about.
And the Holy Spirit goes, "That's confidence."
That's what I'm talking about.
And I said, I wish that nigga would tell me that again.
Come on. The scripture is your script.
It is.
That's your script.
I said, I know who conquers and I know who kills. I'm not up here trying to act like I'm conquering anything.
Come
but
on.
But I am going to kill some stuff today.
Go be great.
Yes.
That's what the scripture said.
Yes.
I go to prepare a place for you that where I am,
Yes. There.
a place of dominion, there you will also
That's
be.
absolutely correct. That's
the
absolutely correct.
place.
That's absolutely correct. I'm free now, but I've had those times where I'm like second guessing myself, but I've lived because I'm 49 now. So what you just said about 50 is very, very encouraging.
Come on.
I'm like I'm on my own rap.
Yeah.
Dr. Trimm gonna listen to me next year.
Yeah, next year. Yes, I'm gonna be listening to you.
Like I'm and I've been. I know the Lord called me to do what I'm doing now for that very reason. Because 50 through 90 for me,
It's gonna be lit. Gonna be lit.
this was all a preamble.
This is introduction.
Yes, ma'am.
First chapter is getting ready to be written.
That's absolutely correct.
Yeah.
This has all been
And
the
that's
forward
for,
and the introduction.
And that's for all of us.
Yes, ma'am.
All
Yes,
of
ma'am.
us.
Absolutely.
You know, I'm only 20-something, so I'm listening to your wisdom now. I'm listening to your wisdom.
You and Juliet, y'all
Yeah.
are so similar. I can't wait for you to meet her.
I can't wait to meet her
Yeah,
too.
absolutely.
And I think this is why EYYS,
Yes.
we invited you last year.
Yes, ma'am.
We invited you again this year.
And I'm so grateful.
Oh my gosh. And, really to empower individuals to discover their why
Yeah.
and to discover their I.
Yeah.
It's all about their I factor. Who
Yeah.
am I?
Yeah.
And what has God called me to do? And
Yeah.
who has God called me to do it with?
Yes.
I'm very clear on my assignment.
Yes, ma'am.
It's to undergird the next generation
Yep.
of greatness, the
Yep.
next generation of leaders and innovators and businessmen and businesswomen. So I'm the undergirder.
Yeah.
I'm not a midwife. I'm undergirding.
Yeah.
Someone has birthed you out,
Yeah.
but I'm going to undergird you into greatness.
Yes.
And that's what End Your Strong is all about, helping
Yeah.
people to face forward, to end strong. How something ends is how something begins.
Correct.
And we've invited you for EYYS, and I'm so excited.
I'm so grateful.
We're sharing the same DNA.
Yes, we are. No, okay, so I have this, again, I have a literal biblical worldview because it's the book I've read over 28 years the most frequently. Like, there's no other book that even comes close. Like, the Bible is my book, and I read, this is what I read, right? So let me tell you, when I met you last year and I got to be a part of EYYS, I have this paradigm of thought that I got from Jacob. Jacob is smitten by Rachel. He's deceived by Laban. And there's a baby war, right? Between Rachel's womb and Leah's womb of who gonna have the most babies, right? Leah has 6, Rachel has 2, Zilpah has 2, Bilhah has 2. So the 12 sons of Jacob / Israel come from these 4 women, right? And as I have navigated the last 28 years of ministry, here is the paradigm of thought I've had. We all have the same daddy.
Mm-hmm.
We don't all have the same mama.
Mm-hmm. That is so true.
We didn't grow up in the same tent.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't come out of the same womb. And so, like Joseph, when he's in Egypt and he sees his brothers, he doesn't reveal who he is until he finds out how Benjamin is doing.
Mm-hmm.
Because Benjamin's the only one that came through the same womb as him.
Mm-hmm.
And once he finds out Benjamin is okay, then he reveals himself to his other half brothers. Got the same daddy, don't have the same mama.
You kind of see the importance of even women.
Absolutely.
Because you have to ask the question, okay, if Benjamin and if Joseph were similar in terms of DNA,
Right.
well, what did the mothers instill, the mothers as well as the
Correct.
handmaidens?
That's right.
What did they instill in the other children?
That's absolutely correct.
That made them hate
That's right.
Joseph and Benjamin.
Mothers shape culture.
Mm-hmm.
Mommies do that.
Mm-hmm.
Daddies don't shape culture as much as mommies do.
Mm-hmm.
They're the first one in your hair. They're the first one to nurture you. They're the first one to feed you. They should be the first one to love you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they carried you. So they actually shape culture. And clearly, even though Rachel died having who she thought was Benoni, but her husband came and named him Benjamin, there was something about that womb that put both of them on this path and it had made this connection. And it's not that Judah, Naphtali, and Levi and all the rest of them are not important, but there is something to be said about whose womb you come through. And even though we got the same daddy, the womb of theology that you come through is important.
Yeah.
The womb of your spiritual nurturing is important. And we have this diaspora across the world of believers in Jesus. And every now and then you cross paths in a green room or at a conference and you go, I think we came out the same womb.
You know, that's the difference between Isaac and Ishmael.
Yes, ma'am.
Ishmael goes on in the wilderness and innovates.
Yes.
Without him, we wouldn't have Joseph.
Absolutely correct.
Because the Ishmaelites got him.
That's
but we
right.
wouldn't have Dubai. We wouldn't have the Middle East.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, look at Isaac. He was the 40-year-old virgin.
Right. Right.
His father had to find his wife.
That's right.
And he never, ever, Isaac, never came into total expression of everything that God gave him.
Yeah.
And whose womb have you been birthed out of? Wow. And people never look at Hagar as, you know, this story, this narrative
Right.
that God tells very briefly.
Yep.
But we look at her and, you know, we talk about her being the bondwoman and the quote from Sarah and then the quote again that was, you know, reinforced in the New Testament.
Yeah.
But she was bound to you.
That's exactly right.
But she was liberated in the wilderness.
That's exactly right.
When God himself visited her.
God himself.
And then spoke a word.
That's right. A
that your
prophetic
son,
word.
And you know, the word archer is not like archery that we have today. Because when God spoke to Ishmael, he said that your son's going to be an archer. And I haven't forgotten him. He's going to be great too. Right? He's going to be great too.
That's what he said.
But the word archer is a word influential and great. It's not him just bow and arrow.
Right. Absolutely.
And look what he created out of nothing. He went inside of himself. And so you have Isaac that was raised entitled. But you have a woman that says, I just want to remind you who your father is. And so while he was building empires, and he produces 12 princes.
Yes, he does.
Isaac has who?
Isaac has Jacob and Esau.
And then Jacob has?
The 12.
And Jacob and his sons, with the exception of Joseph, never comes into the full expression of their identity and their purpose. But you have Ishmael.
Who went to
the
Egypt.
Next generation were princesses. And Jacob's children struggled the whole time, even in the promised land.
I have never put that together.
You know, you talked about wombs.
Yes.
What womb are you being birthed through?
That's absolutely correct. It's incredibly important. It's incredibly important. When I got to EYYS last year, I'm like, oh, we came from the same womb. I said, that's my auntie. I was like, my mama know her mama. Because it was like, I wasn't there. You know, sometimes you're a part of a conference and you're like, I'm contributing to this conference. And then you're like, I need to get out of here. Like, you know what I mean? Like, tell the people them not to bring me back over here no more. I got there and I was like, oh, I'm normal here. None of me has to go. I don't have to tuck none of me away.
You bring all of you to the table.
Yes.
And what if you made a mistake? No big deal. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
Because you have to test your greatness somewhere. It has to be tested. And if you have nowhere to test it, then you have nowhere to validate what God has given you for the world. We can adjust a mistake.
Yes, we can.
We cannot adjust. If you don't do it, we can't fix it.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you keep it on the inside, afraid.
Yeah.
Like I tell everybody, 80% of what I do blows up in my face.
Yeah. But that 20%.
That 20%?
You've leveraged the heck out of that 20.
I'm just starting.
So I started doing comedy again in September. The first 2 weeks, muscle memory, I just went back to open mics. I did open mics for 2 weeks. Got a total of 25 minutes. They only give you 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, 10 minutes here, 5 minutes there, 5 minutes here. I said, okay, I've knocked enough rust off. I'm gonna just I'll build my own arena. And I'll just tell the people, come on. And they'll tell me if I'm funny or not. I'm not going up in here with the other comics who are depressed and I'm about to sit through 2 hours of rape jokes so I can do 5 minutes of comedy. I'm not doing it. So I started, I put my little show in Denton, 60 seats in the basement of an Italian restaurant. I've sold out every show. I haven't done less than 95 minutes on any show. As a comedian, that is insane.
It is insane.
Most people are working to get a 30-minute special. I'm up 2 hours.
Yes.
And it is like, I will have a Netflix special in 36 months or less. It's just
what it is.
It's just what it is.
It's inevitable.
It is.
Yeah.
I already know the name of the first one. I already know the name of the second one. All the specials, I already got the names of them.
And that's what we're talking about when it comes to vision too.
Absolutely.
When God gives you that vision, you know, God said, write it.
Yes.
And then put some timelines.
That's exactly right.
And hold yourself accountable.
That's exactly right. That's exactly
That's
right.
what we're going to be doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, Tim, you're coming.
I am coming.
I think it's the 5th and the 6th of December, right? Am I correct?
Believe so. Absolutely.
December 5th, 6th in Atlanta.
Yes.
AndrewYou'reStrong.com.
Uh-huh.
What can we expect?
From me?
Is the 6th and the 7th?
The 6th and the 7th. Okay. So from me, you can expect, if you were there, first of all, let me say, if you were there last year, you can expect the same.
Good.
That same energy from last year. What I cannot say yet is, because I'm a burden preacher, and God literally has to give me a word for the time and the place that I'm in.
You're like me.
Yeah, I do not have a grab bag of sermons and I'm like fumbling through like, you know what? I think this one will work.
Yeah.
Like, it's literally like, Lord, what do you want to say to these people?
Yeah.
But I know it's going to be filled with hope. It'll be filled with humor, and it will be filled with revelation for you to contextualize what 24 has been and what 25 will be.
Come on. Hope and humor
Yes.
and help.
Yes. Come on, alliteration. Hope and humor and help. Yes. I'm with that. I so appreciate you creating this platform. So there's a book, I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called The Medici Effect.
Okay, Medici Effect.
The Medici Effect is based on the Medici family that was responsible for the French Renaissance.
Okay, you got my attention.
Yes, they are literally the ones that financed for all of these creatives to be in the same space.
Yes.
And this is how we got these beautiful, pristine cathedrals with art on the ceiling.
Yes.
It's because they literally put them in the same room. And so you had artisans with architects.
Yes.
And you had people that made clothes and textiles with people that made jewelry. And obviously the result of that was
the Renaissance.
The Renaissance, right?
Yes.
And this beautiful art and this beautiful creativity and all these different ways to express it, and these beautiful wardrobes and these beautiful outfits and these beautiful buildings and these beautiful paintings and this beautiful art and it was jewelry, everything. And that's what EYYS feels like. It feels like a gathering of creatives from different disciplines. Like, I was there with other people and I'm like, I do not do what he does. And I'm nowhere close to doing what she does. But the cross-pollination allows me to come back and build something and innovate. Because what the book is basically, the synthesization of the book is this. The greatest innovation takes place at the intersectionality of two different disciplines.
Yes.
That's where the greatest innovation takes place.
And that's why the masters, all the masters, the people we admire,
Yes.
they were cross-pollinated
That's
by
correct.
different disciplines.
Absolutely
It
correct.
wasn't just one, like Leonardo da Vinci, all of them.
Right.
It wasn't just one discipline.
That's correct.
They cross-pollinated.
That's
But
right.
then you could look at every master, and I call them masters. They were cross-pollinated as well.
That's right.
Including Jesus.
Yeah. Absolutely
because
correct.
he didn't start his ministry until 30.
Right.
Up until then,
Yeah.
he was an apprentice to his adoptive father.
That's right.
Joseph.
That's right.
And so all of us need that apprenticeship.
That's right.
We all need it.
We all need it.
If you're going to be a master, if you're going to do something that's great,
Yeah.
you've got to be able to submit. And I'm excited to have you because you're not only speaking, but you're also doing one of our roundtables.
That's right. We're gonna do and
Tell them which one you're going to do.
which one am I doing?
I think you're doing the one for women. I think so. Usually that's the
I
one.
love my sisters.
But that's one of the spots I usually do.
Yes. Well, thank you for
And
trusting me.
Listen, I tell you that my staff is in love with you. But it's really the cross pollination and having that male perspective, but also female.
Yes.
And it's a balancing act
Absolutely.
because how you process may be different from how other people process.
Yeah.
So it's going to be exciting.
Well, the what I'm excited for about the panel, me facilitating that panel, what I can tell you what it means already is that my sisters are going to be empowered, but then I get to give the brothers a different perspective on how to see their sisters and their wives and their mothers and the women that God has called us to co-labor with, because the enemy has done a doozy to try to divide the genders. There is a gender war taking place in culture and in the church that is literally keeping us from being who God had called us to be. And we know it's the enemy because it's the first thing he did in Genesis chapter number 3.
And we're like the sun and moon, right?
Right.
We don't compete with one another. We complete.
I bet
and
you we
so,
do.
you don't kill your trench buddy. We're fighting the same war.
Especially when the trench buddy came out of your side.
Yes, yeah.
We got to stop playing.
To fight. I mean, there's a saying, the hand that rocks the cradle rules the world.
Yes.
But if the hand is broken, what happens to the world? If the hand is bruised, if the hand is abused, what's going to happen to the world? And, especially in our community, because, women of color have held it down all this time. And
All this time. From the
time.
beginning of time.
But the male doesn't get to tap out.
Correct.
You can't just tap out and say you don't understand what happened to us on the plantation. We were in the same plantation.
Absolutely correct.
I just want to just bring
Right,
that
exactly.
back. We were in the same plantation.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely
You sowed
correct.
your wild oats. You
That's
had
right.
pleasure.
That's right. Absolutely.
But we had to bear not only the brokenness of our bodies
Yeah.
and hold up our family,
Yeah.
believing that one day you'll come back to us. We not only held up our family, we held up the family of the oppressor too.
Absolutely. That's the truth.
We were architects of our culture.
Absolutely correct. Oh, absolutely correct.
Yeah. So now we believe in you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So don't talk to me about an angry black woman. We got something to be angry about.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
However,
Yeah.
this generation and this generation, we can get it together.
Oh, for sure. We can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
gotta, gotta take your responsibility.
Absolutely correct.
And give us back our. Who is this?
This is my oldest.
Hey there! I've heard a lot about you.
It's good to see you.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Yeah,
Good?
You're alive.
Yes, I am. Yes.
I love that kid.
I love him now too.
That's Timothy Nathan. He goes by Nathan.
Okay, T-N.
Yes.
Timothy Nathan. Bye.
Oh my God. I think you had a growth spurt just sleeping and waking up.
Yeah, my legs are off the bed now.
Yeah. All right. All right. We might get you one.
That is so nice.
Those are my babies.
And I love the fact that it wasn't an interruption.
Absolutely not.
It was an addition.
Absolutely correct. It is.
I love that.
Oh, absolutely. This is our house.
Mm-hmm.
This is not like some quiet on the set.
Mm-hmm.
These are my children. This is the Cosby Show set. This is the living room that you peeked into. Like, I want That's one of the reasons why it was important to do it in my home, because I can show you better than I can tell you.
It's transparency.
Absolutely correct.
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, my respect for you went way up. Because I'll be saying, hey, listen, I'm going to be recording. I don't want to hear anything from you. Don't walk on the set.
Right.
I would have had an attitude.
Oh, my goodness.
I've learned something from you that excellence is more important than perfection.
Yes, ma'am.
And this is an excellent set.
Thank you. So let me tell you where I got that from, because I think that y'all get the theme between us that everything's coming from the Bible, right? So Genesis chapter number 1, God takes 6 days to create the heavens and the earth and humankind, and he calls it all good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we look at a snow-capped mountain and call it magnificent. We look at nature and say it's breathtaking. All the things that God has created that just astounds us, he looked at it and said it was good.
Then he places it in our hands and tells us to make it better.
Right? And it's like,
yes,
this is good. Do something with this. But it starts at good. It is easier to take something from good to great than it is to take something from average to great, or mediocre to great, or from bad to great. So you can take something from good to great. But and that's the only thing I like messing with. This is why I only speak for a living. I don't write books. I talk books. Sydney writes books. I have a ghostwriter because I'm not going to clickety clack at nobody's book, at nobody's desktop, because I was put on the earth to talk. Mrs. Hargett, my kindergarten teacher, the first progress report that went home when I was 5 years old said, and my mom still has it, Tim is a good student, but he talks too much.
Wait, hold on a minute. On all of my report cards, Cindy is a good student. She talks too much. But she talks too much.
That's it.
And
it was prophetic.
And you know what? All of my teachers that people were afraid of, I was never afraid of. I have not 1 ounce of fear genes.
Yeah.
So, when she gave me, she said, okay, you're going to have to stay in for recess, and gave me detention. I thought she liked me. That was my narrative. Oh, she feels lonely. It was a detention, but I didn't know it was correction. I didn't get it.
Oh, my goodness. She's using me to self-soothe.
Yeah, she's poor thing. She's lonely. Yeah, and I would sit and have conversation. She said, you're still talking. But I never digested it as rejection.
No, me either.
I just said that the lady likes me. Poor thing, she's lonely.
Yeah.
All the kids are outside playing, and she wants me to keep her company.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so funny.
I'm telling you, all you have to do is change your narrative.
That's right.
Change the stories you tell yourself.
That's right. That's absolutely correct.
Change it.
Yeah. We did a live pod before taping this one, and there were some people expressing their disappointment around the election and the extreme narratives that are going on. I said, I need you to turn the TV off. Some of you are being discipled by Fox News and MSNBC and CNN. And if you would simply turn the TV off and go live your life the next 7 days, what is your life telling you about what's going on?
Get off of people's timelines and create your own. Let other people sit on your timeline. That's what people need to do. I mean, if you're doing your thing, you're not going to have time to do it.
I bet you I don't. I bet you I don't.
At the end of the day, the only energy I got left is to take a shower and go to sleep. That's it. I can't sit on your timeline.
I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
I actually don't care.
I really don't. I really don't.
And it's usually, these comments are by people who are not doing anything.
That's correct.
You have no proof.
Yeah, absolutely. My statement, because Juliana is over all of my social media content. She writes the captions, all the stuff. I read the captions and I'm like, that's a great caption I wrote. Then I'm like, I didn't write that. I'm like, Juliana wrote that.
But it came from you, though.
Came from me. Here's what I tell them. Here's what I've, this is the mindset that I have. I am a content creator, not a comment curator.
Come on.
I
Come
know
on.
my lane.
Or conspiracy theorists.
Or conspiracy theorists. I am not. Comment section is not why I go to social media. Content creation is. Now, y'all can make all the contents you want. I will not join you. I will not be reading because I do not curve.
We don't have time.
I don't have time.
You know, when you're busy with your own greatness, you don't have time for anything else.
Absolutely correct.
Yeah.
If I get with my greatness, I won't have time for your foolishness.
Come on.
And don't want time for it. I can't wait for December. I cannot wait
December
to do this.
6th and 7th.
December 6th and 7th.
And if they haven't registered, they need to register. Right
I
now.
need everybody that's in the Atlanta area. If you haven't registered for this, you need to register. And then I need everybody that's in the country of United States of America. You got enough time to buy a plane ticket. Stop playing. You have enough time to plan this and still have Christmas gifts for your family. You already bought some for Black Friday. You in between Black Friday and Christmas. You got time. Invest in yourself. This is EYYS are for people that feel greatness on the inside of them and need to be in a place where it can be unlocked. It's what it did for me. Literally, I saw Dr. Trimm in the elevator going up to our floor to get in our rooms, and the elevator ride had already unlocked me for me to do. She was like, "You're home here. Do you? I love you. What God has put in you. You are a prophetic voice for this nation." I tell you, that was the elevator ride up to whatever floor we was on, 14 or 15, whatever floor we were on. By the time I got down there for the first session, I was like, this is my tribe. This is my tribe. So if you want to be unlocked, you need to register. If you're ready to go from good to great, you need to register. If you just need to be around people, because like she talked about, your environment and your 5 closest friends are going to tell you who you are. If you need to know the type of people you need in your inner circle going into 2025, you need to be at In Your Year Strong. It's going to change you. And we are going to unlock the greatness that resides on the inside of you so that you can upset the entire world with the message, love, and hope of Jesus Christ. All right, that's my pitch.
That is it. See you there.
Okay, we love y'all. That's it. Listen, get all of her books, register for all of her stuff, and Google her, and we'll have all the links in all the stuff. We'll have it in post. That ain't for real time. That's for in post. Okay, love y'all. Bye.